Let me ask you if you can hear me without
Yes.
this silly thing.
Yes.
My hearing sucks, so therefore I'm always considerate of people who sit in the back room. Very few people that I know of deserve as much credit as Ken Siegel. And make a long story short, before I came up here, I was called by a guy in North Carolina who lives in a villa 5 feet from the ocean, and he said, please, if you buy him something, I'll pay for it, but sign my name too, and that's Bonnie and Mike Furneaux. So please remember, they remembered you. Secondly, my boss just visited Quantico yesterday, and the topic came up that I was going to take a vacation day because I want to see Ken Siegel go into retirement. This guy says, you know, I know the name Ken Siegel, and he must be super, because when I was in Afghanistan as a Boeing mechanic, foreman, whatever the hell it was, I had a problem and I tried to call Cherry Point, and whoever was assigned to Cherry Point would never provide an answer. And somebody said, why don't you call Ken Siegel? And he called Ken Siegel, and within 1 hour, there was a communication between Afghanistan, Ken Siegel, who talked him through all the simple steps, and he said, thank you. So Sean Bittner wants to make you know that he gives a shit. I have got a few things that I have to do. Some of them easy, some of them not so easy. And I have to figure out what's easy. This is the easier thing.
That's your EIP.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't know that this place was so close to Chicago. I decided to write what I called Mickey Mouse summary. And I have to actually read it because at my age, I can't learn all of that and not look at it. But it basically says, with your permission, I'd like to say a few words at least, as we are invited here and gathered for Ken's retirement feast. For me, a trip to Pennsylvania would normally be cause for a big scream, unless you've been invited by the loving and caring Doreen. She set up this gathering with usual smarts and intuition, as one would expect from a truly outstanding logistician. I'm honored as a simple rep to be allowed in this truly diversified and brilliant crowd. Engineers in design, logistics, and stress, all plucking away, assuring another Boeing success. And where some folks look for answers in the church, I've always found the answers from Ken, the perch. I would have to travel for answers several miles, while Ken simply pushes a button for the appropriate files. Knowing smart people is an important and good trade, and Ken has us all beat like an ace of spades. This group of experts, each in their own vocation, assures the well-being and safety of our nation. Your departure from this great group sort of sucks, but as a great umpire, you'll make plenty of bucks. I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart to be invited to this occasion and taking part. Best wishes, my friend Ken Siegel. Have fun and soar like an eagle.
Yes.
friends that I have, they said, you know, if you make presentations, if it has to do with the damn airplane, everybody has enough of that shit hanging on the wall of that airplane. And they may not, by the time they work for Walmart, want to do any more looking at this airplane. But in this case, my Norfolk best friend and I, figured out that blade section for Ken Siegel would be appropriate. So here is a real piece of H46 rotor blade. It comes from the DRMO. If you don't know what that means, that's the junk yard. And I have learned over the past 40 some odd years that I can't give away anything that has a value of more than $4.95 to stay within the ethics guideline of our Boeing company. So therefore, this Hummer simply says, Kenneth Siegel, thanks for nearly 27 years of support to the 46 program and their reps. Your friendship is my treasure. So that will come to you, and you might as well step forward. Maybe you
Yes, sir.
don't run off yet. There you go. That's the way to do it. Now, when Ken was a young man and hired in at Boeing, he was slated to go to Quantico, Virginia, and that was December 1986 or thereabouts. And he was to take a look at what Quantico looks like for the fielding of the JVX. And JVX is V-22 for some of us. That was 26 years ago. And I want you to know that most recently, the squadron at HMX in Quantico, Virginia, was told, you will accept V-22s starting in April this year. So based on all of that, as a plank holder, I think, for Quantico, this material for the home-crafted piece came from the south gable of Hangar 2103 of the Quantico Air Facility. The copper siding, this cable was torn off by Hurricane Isabel on 18 September 2003. And one panel was saved for this stupid schmuck to make home-crafted. There is a 46 that says, Kenneth Siegel, a patriotic supporter of the H-46 for nearly 27 or 28 years. Da-da-da-da-da.
What are you doing? Christmas was last month.
I apologize, my friend, that I'm taking more than 2 minutes.
No. The floor's yours.
But when Hank Kaczynski decided to retire, and that was 6 years ago, he talked about it. At that time, I said, gee, you know, he used to be at HMX at one time as one of our maintenance officers. He ought to have a coffee cup. Now, do you remember, Ken, if he had some kind of a nickname? He said, well, John, I don't know, I don't think so, and I can't remember. But you know, John, I remember what you're talking about, because when I was at a stage and somebody had nicknames, they called me Motor Mouth. He probably doesn't remember yesterday. And I want you to know, 6 years ago, I bought this damn cup for Ken with a presidential seal that in the back it says Motor Mouth.
I gotta back this story up a little bit. Steve will appreciate this. I told him this story a long time ago. I was in 264, and we had a CO, Colonel Tubbs, Lieutenant Colonel Tubbs. And I was, first mech at the time, I was working my way up to become a crew chief. And I used to like to fly with our CO. And we would have these boring little hops doing stupid things, and I'd get in the cockpit and I'd play with the radio. Or I'd get on the ICS and constantly talk. We went on a med cruise in '73, and the officers started assigning names to the crew chiefs in the first mechs. My flight jacket disappears from my bunk. The next morning I come back, the jacket's there with MM on my jacket, 2 letters. I'm thinking it's Mickey Mouse or Mighty Mouse or something, until the colonel come up to me and he said, "Initials work?" I said, "What does it mean, sir?" "Motor Mouth." So never shut up. Thus, thank you.